We will start English session in just few minutes with Dr. Bipin Doshi.
Am I audible?
Yes, Bipin bhai.
Yes,
Thank you.
Jai Janendra.
I would
Bipin
like.
bhai, if you can focus.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now.
Jai Janendra. Pranam. It is my honor to introduce and provide you a brief introduction of Dr. Bipin Doshi, a notable Jain scholar from Mumbai, India. My profession, Dr. Doshi is a general physician. For the last many years, he has dedicated his focus to the community service. Dr. Doshi is a Jain philosopher. He has guided over 6,000 students and serves as a resource person for a PhD and the research students on Jainism. Notably, he played a pivotal role in establishing a Jain chair at Mumbai University and Jainology department at Sumandip Vidyapith. Dr. Bipin Doshi is also an accomplished author. He has penned several books, including the notable work titled Gandhi Before Gandhi. Additionally, Dr. Doshi has conducted research on ancient Jain personalities such as Guru Gautam, Seth Motisha, Veer Bamasha, Champa Shravika, and Raja Kumarpal. His exploration of Jain heritage contributed to the preserving and disseminating this rich cultural legacy. He has produced multiple drama on such topics. He has also served as a vice president of Virayatan. He is also the founder secretary and past president of Jito Apex and actively involved with Jain Vishwa Bharati Institute. Given his multifaceted achievements spanning medicine, Jain philosophy, education, and community service, it was no-brainer for Jaina team to invite Dr. Doshi for an English lecture series during our Paryushana. The Paryushana lecture series on the subject Practical Jainism, the basics of Jain philosophy, with today's topic being Who Am I? These sessions will be recorded and will be available on Jaina YouTube channel. And with that, please welcome Dr. Bipin Doshi. Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra to all of you. Thank you, Midnesh Bhai, for a very elaborate introduction, which I don't deserve. I just call myself as a disciple of Tirthankar Mahavir, not disciple of only a person, but disciple of his virtues, which we would like to follow in our life. Today, my subject is going to be Who Am I? See, basically, even in our corporate world, we use a word which is called SWOT analysis. The SWOT analysis actually makes us understand what is my strength, what are my weaknesses, what are the opportunities, and what are the threats. The same management principle, if we apply to our spiritual life, we definitely have the benefit of both type of benefit. If you want a materialistic benefit, that is also available. And if you want a spiritual benefit, that is also available. Now, let me put this management concept into our spiritual world. S stands for what is my strength. I'm going to show that strength by PowerPoint presentation in few minutes. The strength which we possess is something which is very unique. Just start my PowerPoint presentation and give me the link for PowerPoint presentation. Okay, I got it. Okay. Can you see my PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay. The question is, who am I? And when we analyze this from the point of, say, spiritual world, the first question comes to our mind is, who knows? Who is the knower? We know quite a lot of things about so many things about which we like to know. Maybe it's a computer, maybe it's an aeroplane, maybe it's anything. But we hardly know who is the knower. Who is that person or who is that entity which knows all this? All our learning in our life is to know something else and not the knower. Very important part of our spiritual processes or spiritual teaching is to know who is a knower. And knower is considered to be our Chetana, our soul. We hardly know anything about what am I? What is that Chetana? What is that soul? What is that divine power which knows everything? Now, yes, when we talk about spiritual learning, usually we focus on my soul, Atma. But let's also know what is my present existence? And I'll try to make it little simpler with a few of my presentation. First of all, I'm rare. We are all rare in terms of time, in terms of space, in terms of substances. Let's take an example. We know about the universe and how big is the universe. Trillions and trillions of stars, or millions and millions of galaxies. Out of that, there is one small galaxy or a medium-sized galaxy called Milky Way galaxy. And in that Milky Way galaxy, there is one medium-sized star which we call Sun. And in that star, there are few planets, and the Earth is one of that planet. And on that Earth, we exist. Think about the vast universe. In a very, very tiny, small place into that universe, which we call Earth and where we exist. So if you see, this is rare in case of in the view of our galaxy. Second thing, what is the time? Infinite time. Infinite time has passed, infinite time will pass. And the Earth will exist for about 10 billion years in this time span. Because after that, it is going to become a cold star, as we know by our science. Earth does not have a life for billions of years to start with. That means about 3 to 4 billion of years, Earth does not have a life. And Earth is not going to have a life after another few million years. That means even if you consider the life time of Earth, which is again a very, very small time as far as infinite time is concerned, and at that time, only for few million years, not billions, only for few million years, the living being will exist. And 5 cents living being will exist only for a very small time. And that is the time we are going to exist. So in terms of time, in terms of space, we are rare. Let's take an example in terms of numbers. Today we are saying that we are about 800 crores. Fine. But if you think in one spoon of your curd, there are millions and millions of lives. So though we might say that, oh, our number is large, but if you consider the living being, the number of living being existing only on this earth, our number is a very, very small number. So we are rare in number, we are rare in space, and we are rare in time. We don't realize this. The second very important point, that I'm unique. Why I'm unique? Because there is nobody like me at present. There's not going to be anybody like me in future, and there wasn't anybody like me in the past. Yes, sometimes we might say that there are few people who might be very similar to me as far as the face is concerned. But if you take my thumbprints, if you take my cornea, picture of my cornea, they would be all different. So we are the only one edition. There is no one except me. My uniqueness is always an uniqueness. Can this happen into other creations? No. And that's why the third point which I want to make is I'm a chosen one. Why do I say chosen one? Those people who know a little bit about science know that for one conception to occur, you need minimum 200 millions of the sperms. That means out of those 200 millions of sperms, my mother has chosen me. And similarly, your mother has also chosen one sperm out of those 200 million sperms. Think about it. So you are a chosen one. When you think about somebody chosen as a president of some country, you say, oh my God, he's the president and all that. But we are also chosen one. Why? My mother has chosen me only chosen me only? A question we should always try to ask ourselves. We do not know about our rareness. We do not know about uniqueness. We also do not know about our that we are chosen one. Now, one little more thing, that we are chosen, but we have got five well-developed senses. Not only five well-developed senses, they are all balanced. We don't have one sense so much and the other sense so little. That can happen into insect and other people. But we have got five wonderfully well balanced, very working in a cohesiveness, five sensed organism. This is also something which is very unique. After that, we have got a superb brain. Superb brain. I mean, what the human mind can do, we all are realizing the way we are progressing on technology, the way we are, whatever is happening. This cannot happen by any other brain. So, what I would say, we have a superb brain. Next. We have excellent power of communication. No creation in the world can have the combination, the kind of communication which we possess. Now, value of our human life or the human body. Say somebody made a little survey and little work on that and say that if you really want to make one human body, it would take $5 trillion, 80 years of life. Suppose I have, that means my each second is 5 crores of rupees. Each second. Now, this does not include consciousness. Rarely. You can create anything. You can probably create a human brain or, kind of a human brain, but from where the consciousness will come. We have wonderful organs. Just think about your heart beats every minute, almost 70 times. 1 hour, that 70 multiplied by 60, that is 1 hour. That you multiply by 24. Then you multiply by 365. And then you multiply that with your age. How many times the heart beats rhythmically and regularly? Think about the kidney, think about the liver. You cannot have such a chemical factory which you can establish ever in our life. So we have wonderful organ. Think about the eye, the pixel which has no pixel right now we have available in our technology, the pixel which we have got in the eyes. Think about the capillaries and the blood vessels and whatnot. 500 millions liter of, sorry, the kidney has 1 lakh filters each day, liter of blood which is filtered. 500 million liters of blood is pumped in our lifetime. The blood vessels, the network is about 60,000 miles. And remember, 100 million neurons work every second. There's so many things which you can talk about our body. But, are we realizing that this kind of body which we have, what is our focus usually? Just think about it. And, the funny diseases now which we have, obviously we have a cancer, we have a diabetes, we have a blood pressure, and many more diseases. But as we advanced, we have found some more diseases. One disease which I call is SAD, screen addictive syndrome. I don't want to elaborate more on that. How many of us are addictive to the screen? One which is called FOMO, fear of missing out. Why not me? If so-and-so has got such a beautiful house, why not me? If so-and-so has got such a beautiful dress, why not me? If so-and-so has got such beautiful position, why not me? So everywhere, we always think, why not me? And obviously, suppose you miss your mobile somewhere, forget your mobile somewhere, what happens? The biggest disease, fear of missing mobile. And there's one more disease which has been recently described is textaphrenia. Whatever text comes to your mobile, you send it to other people, you forward it. This has become a type of a obsessive compulsive syndrome. So now let's understand. Am I happy with so many things which I have? As I told you, I'm rare, I'm unique, I'm wonderful, I've got wonderful body, I've got great power of communication, I've got great power of my mind. Such a wonderful, precious things which we have. And in spite of all that, let's ask ourselves, am I happy with so many things which I have? And if yes, fine. But if it is not so, let us contemplate on that. Who am I? This is the beginning of understanding the SWOT analysis, which we apply into management. So this first part explains my strength. This is all my strength. My wonderful body, my wonderful mind, my wonderful communication, my rarity, my uniqueness. This is all that is my strength. But unfortunately, when I think about my strength, I also have to talk about my weaknesses. So many diseases, so many psychosomatic diseases, obviously, so many physical diseases. They are all my weakness. But Tirthankar Paramatma has put this very nicely. He says that yes, there are many weaknesses, but your most important weaknesses are your passions, which in our spiritual language called kashai. What is kashai? Anger, ego, deceit, and greed. Krodh, man, maya, and lobh. So one side you have a strength, the other side you have a weaknesses. If we recognize these weaknesses, obviously to have gains in your life, maybe materialistic gain, maybe spiritual gains, but for all that, you have to understand your weaknesses. Because one who knows his limitations can definitely try to overcome those limitations. Unfortunately, we many times do not understand that, yes, I may be fine in many things, but at the same time, I may be poor in many things. So, Tirthankar Paramatma has put this very, very simply, very, very simply. He says that every one of us, every living being has to have four kinds of natural instinct. We all have to have a four kind of natural. A living being cannot exist without these four natural instinct. We all need food. We all have a fear. We all have a desire for pleasures, sensual pleasures for the senses, the pleasures of our senses. Uh, because I know in America, the sensual pleasure doesn't mean what we mean in India. What I want to tell you over here is the pleasures of our senses, which we call, and the last one, the possessiveness. These four samnas are divided as are described in our literature
Sorry for interruption. Sorry for interruption. Speaker will join back soon.
બિપિનભાઈ બિપિનભાઈની લાઈન ઓડ છે કે
Yeah.
શું થયું છે?
ના, બિપિનભાઈ ડિસ્કનેક્ટ થઈ ગયા છે મીટિંગમાંથી.
Okay, okay. See if you can locally contact him.
Yeah, I'm calling him only.
Yes, thank you. And to the community, let's just wait. This was live from India, so maybe there is some technical challenge. Hopefully we can resolve it pretty soon. So thank you for your patience.
I just had a word with him. It will take a couple of minutes for him to join back.
Dimen, in the meantime, if you can run the Navkar mantra. Those who recently joined, we had some technical issue from the Bombay. So let's just wait a few minutes. Our technical team is trying to resolve the issue. Thank you for your patience.
नमो हरिहन्तानं नमो सिद्धानं नमो आयर्यानं नमो वज्रायानं नमो लोये सवसाहुनं ऐसो पंच नमोपकारो सव पाव पडासणो मंगलाणं च सवेसिं पढमं हवै मङ्गलम् नमो हरिहन्तानं नमो सिद्धानं नमो आयर्यानं नमो वज्रायानं
Hello. Hello.
Bipin bhai, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm so sorry that I'll be doing it from my mobile because of some network issues right now.
No
Am I
worries,
audible?
no worries. Yes, you are audible, Bipin bhai. Please
Okay.
go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So what I was trying to show you, which maybe not be able to show you right now on the screen because of some issue. So who am I? That's where we were. And we discussed about the strength which we have. We also discussed about the weaknesses which we have. And now we have to also discuss about the opportunities. What are the opportunities? The human life is such a wonderful life that you have an all opportunities. Let me put it in a two simple word. Suppose you want to achieve a lot of things as a material world, or say worldly happiness. That opportunity also exists because except human being, no other creation has got this opportunity. However, there is one bigger opportunity which we call the divine happiness, not worldly happiness. Worldly happiness is one opportunity which we all thrive for. We always, our life right now is on all worldly happiness. But yes, that's one opportunity. But second, which is much more, much bigger, much higher, is to have the bliss, a blissful life, a happy life, a life which is without miseries or minimum miseries. That opportunity also we have. And that is what we call the divine bliss or the divine happiness. So, as I told you again, our strength, our weaknesses, and our opportunities. Now, let's see what is the threat. Right? The threat is in Jainism is put by a very simple word called raga. Rag means attachment. Any person who has got the attachment bound to have the miseries. More the attachment, more the miseries. Minimum the attachment, minimum is the misery. And that's why Jain religion is also known as Vitaraga Dharma. Vitaraga. Vit means no. Rag is attachment. However, practically this is not possible. We all stay in a family. We have our children, we have a wife, we have all our relationships around, we have our profession. So can we really live without attachment? This is a big question. My thinking about is that yes, first of all, we cannot live without attachment. Attachment is a part of our life. The second thing, how minimum attachment which we have, which we can have to the things which are not important in our life. This is the second learning which we should have, that okay, fine. I mean, I cannot just get detached from my children or my family. But there are so many other things in my life to which I get more attached. My house, my luxuries, my positions, my wealth. The minimum attachment. There are possibilities that we can minimize our attachment with so many things. Now the concept of minimalism. I really like this concept of minimalism, not because it has a spiritual value, 100%. Alpa parigraha. I don't even use the word aparigraha because aparigraha is not possible in our day-to-day life. Alpa parigraha. That means minimalism. Why I like minimalism, or why we should like all this minimalism? Because minimalism will help us to preserve our natural resources. Very important. Suppose we go on using the things as we are using as on today, what will happen to our next generation or a few generations after that? They will not have anything. GDP may increase. GDP, usually what we call gross domestic production, I think it should be, this P word should be replaced by the peace. What is gross domestic peace? That is going to be more important. When we increase the production, the natural resources are depleted. There is a climate crisis and there is an energy crisis. And all that can lead to a state where probably we will not exist. And that is the reason that we as a, we should always try to minimize our attachment. Now, who am I? When we are talking about this, who am I? A beautiful concept is given by Srimad Rajchandra. And I would always suggest you to go through Atma Siddhi whenever it's possible. It's a very small book, Not that it's obviously when you do a vivation of that or a critical analysis of that, it can run into volumes and volumes. But Srimad Rajchandra, in a Shatapada, there are in 6 sentences, he explained our existence. He explained what am I. And unless and until we do not realize these 6 concepts which Srimad Rajchandra has given, it is very difficult to progress on a spiritual path. Suppose I want to have a something which I call spirituality in my life, the 6 concepts must be well understood. The first he says is that there is a soul. Atma che, Atma hai. Now you might ask me that why? What is so important about this? There are people in the world. There are type of the systems or the philosophies of the world, or let me put the science of the world, does not believe that there exists Atma. They don't believe. They believe that, okay, there is a consciousness, but they don't call this as the word which we used as a soul or Atma. The second he says that Atma Nitya hai. Nitya means it's perpetual. It is imperishable. It is always there. It is eternal. Again, here the question might come to us that, oh, again, what is the importance of this? Because there are many religions in the world who talks about soul, but they said the soul is present as long as this life is concerned. That's all. If you take all the prophetic religions of the world, that is Judaism, Christianity, Islam, or Zoroastrianism, they all talk only of one life. They don't talk of multiple lives as we talk in our Indian philosophies like Buddhism, Jainism, and Hinduism. So their idea is only one life. And there is nothing which remains after your life. There is nothing like a soul which remains after your life. And the soul does not exist without body. While Jain philosophy, Jains believe, or probably many other religion of the Indian origin do believe that it is eternal. Eternal means it does not perish, it does not vanish. It goes from one life to the another life. Today I am human being, tomorrow I may be, Tiryansh, or next time I may be Dev, or something or the other. Out of these 4 gatis, we go from one gati to the another, one transmigrations to the other transmigrations. And obviously, there is something which we call siddhas or liberated souls. Again, my Atma remains as it is eternal. So the first is Atma hai, Atma Nitya hai. Third, there is something like karmas or karma. Again, the explanation of karma in Jainism is probably unique. No text or no scripture has ever described karmas as a particle. As we discuss in physics, karmic part, as we discuss in the physics, we talk about electrons, plutrons, neutrons, boson particles, God's particles. Karmic particles are considered to be even subtle than these particles. These particles which are described in our science today are considered to be gross particles. The karmic particles are very subtle particles spread all over the universe, and they have an affinity to join with our soul whenever our soul is doing some activity. So this science of what I call karma science. See, sometime, I was asked recently by a person that why do you call Jainism, which is full of science or scientific religion? Then I gave him a very simple answer. Jainism is one religion or one dharma which has got a science of health. Science of health means it deals with physical aspect of our body. It deals with our mental aspects of our body. All our dietary practices are mainly related to our physical health. All our practices like being away from passions, Samayik, Pratikraman, Kausak, they are all related to our mental health. Obviously, Chakai Jiva Raksha, that means taking care of earth, water, air, vanaspati or the plants, other living being is related to environment. That means we have got a science of health, physical health, mental health. We have a science of protecting our environment. But more and more, I mean, much more than that is science of karmas, karma vigyan. And why do I say this karma vigyan? Because my past existence, my present existence, whatever is happening in my life, whatever will happen in my future life, all that is explained by a concept of karmic particles relationship with my soul. Such a wonderful science. If you read Pannava Sutra or some of our or Bhagavati Sutra, so much detail is given about this karmic particle and the relationship of this karmic particle with our soul. Something wonderful. What is happening today, right now, is all happening because of two things: the fruition of my previous karmas and obviously my present efforts. See, today we are all meeting on this platform because there was a fruition of your karma. Nana Varniya karma were supposed to be diminishing. And that's why you and we are meeting today. We are coming for Swadhyay. But at the same time, you have to put the efforts. So, fruition of the previous karmas and your efforts are very important. The fourth word which he used is that we are the doer and the enjoyer of our karmic particles or the karmas. आत्मा है, आत्मा नित्य है, कर्म है, मैं खुद मेरे कर्म का करता हूं, मेरे कर्म का भोगता हूं. This is the fourth sentence which he has given us. And the fifth one, beautiful one. There is liberation. Now here let's understand what you mean by liberation. Yes, we may talk about, all our 8 karmas are gone and then we are liberated. Fine, that is one good definition and that's a right definition. But I just simply said what you liberate. You liberate from your miseries. Simple, very simple. What am I supposed to liberate from? Liberate from my miseries. And what are my miseries? My miseries are my kashais: anger, ego, deceit, and greed. If I liberate myself from these 4 kind of passions, I'm liberated. That is my moksha. That is my salvation. And that is my ultimate goal. So he says in the 5th sentence that there is a liberation. And then he describes the 6th very important part, that yes, there is a way to liberate. Not only that there is a liberation, but there is a method, there is a system, there is a standard procedure by which you can liberate yourself. And obviously this part we are going to discuss in future about how to liberate. But in simple words, like in Tattva Sutra, the first stanza goes Samyak Darshan Gnan Charitrani Mokshmar. Liberate yourself when you have a true faith, when you have a true knowledge, and when you act, and your conduct is according to this true faith and true knowledge. And obviously, what is that true faith? Tattva Shraddhanam Samyak Darshanam. That means I should have a faith on 9 tattvas or 7 tattvas as described by the Digambar Parampara, is have a total faith in these 7 tattvas. I should believe that there is a consciousness. I should also believe that there are karmic particles. I should also believe that yes, there are good particles and bad particles, what we call punya and pap. They do get attracted to my soul. Once they are attracted, they are bonded with my souls. But yes, I have a power to discard them, what we call nirjara, and attain the ultimate bliss, which we call moksha. So learning about the 7 tattvas or 9 tattvas as described by our Tirthankaras is also very important. So friends, I would now put this to some questions because I think it may be a good time to have some questioner also. Another 10-15 minutes still I have. So rather than giving a monologue, just lecturing from one side, it is important that we have some wonderful questions. and please feel free to ask these questions. So it's over to all of you to ask the questions. Yes, Bindesh bhai.
No, thank you, Bipin bhai. But I'm just basically want everyone, if you have a question, please raise your hand, and Bipin bhai will basically address your question. And Dimen, please make sure questioners can mute themselves.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make this as a monologue, perversion, I mean.
Bipin bhai, you have to unmute yourself. By mistake, you've been mute. Yeah.
Okay. Am I audible now? Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Zeel has some question, please.
Zeel, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Jai Janendra, everyone.
Hi, Janendra Zeel.
Hi, Dr. Bipin. My question is, you mentioned some text that maybe sutra that you can read about the karma, the science of karma, and you said it was a really nice text or sutra.
Bhagavati Sutra and Pannava Sutra.
Can someone write that on the chat so I can get it right?
Okay. I can't write from here, but
Maybe somebody else.
I
somebody
can
else.
write, Jill.
Thank you so much.
Pannava Sutra and Bhagavati Sutra.
Great, thank you.
Okay. And obviously, there are many books available written by some scholars where we discussed about this karmic particles. You can take my number from somebody. If somebody could type my number, because I'm on mobile and cannot do a good chatting on that. Dimen bhai, if you could write down my number and pass on to her, I will personally talk with her, and I'll suggest few more books on which are written by the the scholars who are in science, like Dr. Narendra Bhandari, Dr. M.D. Modi. So there you can have some explanation how you relate your karmic particles with the present physics.
And you can online Jaina library, e-library.
Yeah,
You
yes,
should
obviously.
be able to find the books by just
Both
searching.
the books are available. But for the beginner, it may be little difficult to read Pannava Sutra. So first, she has to have some learning from some of us to understand what is karmic particle, and then she can learn about Pannava Sutra.
Okay.
Otherwise, to learn Pannava Sutra, it's a bit difficult thing.
Okay. Ashwin has a question. Please unmute and ask the question.
Hi, Bipin bhai, can you elaborate regarding God particles?
No, what I wanted to convey to you is that in Jainism, Pudgal means matter, right? Matter has been described amply. Now, the matter consists of Sukshma and Sthula. Sukshma is, subtle particles. And Sthula are the gross particles what we see. The science, like when I was a student, we used to talk about molecule. After that, we came from the element and we were studying periodic table. After periodic table, we went and said, no, it's all electron, proton, and neutron. Now we all say that, no, it is subatomic particles like deuterium, neutrons, boson particle, Gauss particle. What Jainism is saying that these particles, what science is learning, are ashtasparshi. Touch. Touch doesn't mean the touch what we say. You have to really understand 8 sparsha described in Jainism. The karmic particle are called 4 chatursparshia. Parmanus are called dvisparshia. And the gross matters are called ashtasparshia. So if you read about the physics of karmic particles, it is something which is astonishing in the sense that, oh my God, how our scholars must have thought about these kind of particles, which are even subtle, more subtle than our presently described or invented particle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. There is one question on the chat. Is believing in 6 things told by Rajchandra Suri are assumptions, and our assumptions are blind in nature?
No, they are, see, they are not assumptions, first of all. The first is that the soul is there. We all experience that soul is there. We might call it consciousness. Okay. So we all believe that consciousness is there. Now, where does, the science says that nothing gets lost. Law of conservation always says that everything which can be transferred from one thing to the another thing. So let's assume that the person dies. When the person dies, his body gets, obviously, it has got hydrogen, oxygen, calcium, potassium, whatever it is. All that does not go. It remains, right, in the universe. But what about the consciousness? If we believe in a law of conservation, the consciousness also has to be present somewhere. And that's why Jain believes that it's an eternal consciousness, or the soul is eternal. The third is karma particles. Yes, we have not yet reached, the science has not yet understood the fineness of this science. But yes, a day would definitely come when we will be able to understand the karmic particles. Now, in our life, so many things are happening. So many things. Some might call it luck. See, suddenly I am fine, and somebody is very fine and gets a heart attack. He's 42 years old, 45 years old. Suddenly somebody is very, is not very well, is not doing well, and suddenly starts doing well. A child is born blind. So many things are happening in our life where there is no proper explanation. Why is it happening? Yes, as I told you, somebody might call it, a natural selections of, or somebody might call it luck. There are a number of theories. But to explain this in a very scientific way, almost all philosophies of Indian nature talks about karmas, the casualities. That yes, something happened in past, and this is the result of that happening. And that's why believing in karmic or theory of karma is something which definitely logical. It's logical. It's not illogical, or it's not an assumption. So I personally think that to explain all the adversities, all the complexities of our life, the only good explanation or the logical explanation which we have is theory of karma. Now, the fifth is moksha. Let's not think about, the Jainism is described as three lok and the moksha at the top of it. Okay, fine. If we want to believe that, is fine. If you don't want to believe that also, at least we all want to believe that there is some state of mind or some state where we can say there is a complete bliss. And that state of achieving complete bliss is moksha. And how to achieve this? Yes, there are ways and means of that. And Jainism has described this very beautifully. Samyak darshan, gyan, charitrani, moksha marg. If you follow certain way of life, you can definitely achieve to this bliss. See, here I always tell one thing, that okay, if I want to be Bill Gates, or if I want to be something in my life, let me put it, if I am in India, I may think about, I want to be like Mukesh Ambani, wealthy person, right? But does Mukesh Ambani possess infinite wealth? No. I possess a little wealth, Mukesh Bhai is possessing a little more wealth, and there is something which we are calling finite health. So our aim should be infiniteness. We may not reach to that, but which we at least we can progress to some extent. Similarly, in case of bliss, in case of sukha, in case of moksha, we may not achieve, but that's an ideal or an ideology. And in ideology, it's not necessary that we achieve to the fullest possible things, but at least we try to do as much as we can, or we try to go as far as we can. So when I talk about moksha, my simple explanation is a bliss. You can have a bliss, or you can have a more happiness, or you can have a less miseries, if the kind of the life which has been prescribed by our Tirthankaras or Paramatmas can be followed. Yes. Any next question?
Bipin bhai,
Yes.
I have
Surendra
many
Bhai has a
questions.
question.
I have many questions, but I don't want to take everybody's time. What's your email address so I can ask question?
Please go ahead.
What's your
DR, yeah,
email address?
D for, yeah, Dimen bhai, you can type it. D for Delhi, R for Rajkot, bipindoshi@yahoo.com. Dr. bipindoshi@yahoo.com. Yeah, that's fine. Dimen bhai, thank you very much.
Your lecture
And
was very
Bipin bhai,
impressive.
would you like to? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Surendraji.
Yes,
Your lecture was very impressive, very happy.
thank you.
And Bipin bhai, we missed some of your slides. So would you mind sharing the slides so we will make sure that our community
Yeah,
and interested people will get it?
I mean, it is not, there is no IP on that. So
Yeah.
I will
Okay.
share it to everybody. You
Thank
can
you.
use your, I'll definitely share it to Dimen by today itself.
Thank you.
And Dimen by all my PowerPoint presentation can be shared with everybody, and
Yeah,
everybody can use it because there is no monopoly. Wonderful thing. All our Jaina's books, does not have the, copywriting. You can print them
Yes.
again and again. So again on Jaina platform, I wish that everything should be available to everyone.
Sure, I'll upload it.
So another 4 to 5 minutes is there. Otherwise, we'll do Mangalacharan. If there is any question, I want all of you to come with the questions. Tomorrow again, you'll be given the topic, and because that, as I told you, rather than giving pravachan, I believe in discussion.
I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
So I have 3 children. They're reading lots of Jain books during this week of Paryushan, and they're constantly questioning us on, like, for example, Mahavir only ate once in 6 months, for example, and all the meditation and the things that has happened. They were really questioning, how valid is it? Were people really 10 feet tall? Did people really do this? How in today's science-based world, they're having a really hard time understanding all these aspects of religion.
I do believe and I do agree with you. See, the problem with us is that we haven't learned how to teach the young generation, unfortunately. We still talk about those mythological stories, and we talk about those concepts which does not go into our children's mind as on today. See, like it's a simple example. We talk about time cycle. Now, no student or youth will ever believe in the time cycle which we are teaching. We talk about cosmology. No students or present generation would ever believe in our cosmology. We talk about some of the stories, simple story like the snake biting and the milk coming out. Like this is how the children would relate to it. So we have to really teach them that Jainism is much beyond this. Jainism talks about health science. Jainism talks about environmental science. Jainism talks about the science by which we can be more happy. We focus them on the rituals. We focus them on certain things which are, like I was taking a lecture in US a few years back, and a young boy got up and told me that, sir, I never quarrel with my mom except during Paryushanas. I said, why? He said, because in Paryushanas, he gives me so many advices. Don't do this, don't do that, don't eat that, don't eat that. He said, if I'm not supposed to eat that, I should do it all throughout my life. Why during Paryushana only? And many times it happens that we as a parents do not live the life which is, I'm not saying that you live a life like a sadhu or anything, but there are certain basic principles, there are certain ethical practices, there are certain moral practices which we need to follow in the family, and then the children would learn. If people ask me that, because we focus on, you do puja, you remember this gathas, children doesn't get related to that. And as far as the young youth is concerned, they should be, on the contrary, taught about the moral science. They should be taught about how Jainism describes the various concepts of our present life. That should be the good learning, not what we have been And that's why I always have a fight with many of my pandits, the way they want to teach our children. And ultimately what happens, for few years they follow because they are very young. But as soon as they come to the college or the middle school, I mean the middle school or the high schools, they actually, rebound like a spring. So we need to change the methodology of teaching our youth. That's
Thank you.
that's a need of our day.
Thank you for the answer. That what you just said about the quarreling of during Paryushan is
I will
100% accurate.
I will give you one incident in my life. I was doing Paryushanas in England, UK, in London, right? And many of them came to me, many senior people came to me and told me that our children or our youth don't like to do the pratikraman. They said this is boring. We don't understand anything. Why do we sit for 2 hours without knowing what we are talking about? So I said that fine, that's fine. Let's talk with them on the concept of confession. So on the previous day of Savansari, I took a lecture for youth only and talked about confession. Now, confession is not a monopoly of Jains. There is a confession in namaz, there is a confession in Christian prayers, there is a confession in Buddha's prayers, and there is a confession in Jain prayers. So every religion believes in a concept of confession. Now, when you do a confession, how it purifies your body, how it purifies your mind, because of it's a kind of a meditative practice. So if you thus give them little background of why confession is very important and what do we do in pratikraman, then they would relate. You just tell them that, okay, today is Savansari and you are supposed to come for pratikraman. They come and sit for a while and then do Michami Dukram and go away. They don't understand what they have done. It's very important for us to make them understand. There's so many things are repeated in pratikraman. Why don't we do a pratikraman, which is, somebody may not like this concept, but let's make it very simplified pratikraman, where actually a person speaks in his own language, understand that what he's confessing into, what is his purpose of confession, and how it will relieve him of a lot of guilt feel which he has collected over a period of time. And that would help him rather than, going to doing those traditional rituals all the time. I'm not against doing traditional rituals, but those who do not understand, then we have to give them some alternatives.
One more question from Dipti. Sorry, from Dhiral. Do all souls
I think this
stay
will be the
on?
last question.
Yeah. Do all souls stay
Yeah.
on earth itself? Is moksha the only way for souls to leave the earth?
See, Tirthankar Paramatma is very clearly said, Sayogi Kevali, Ayogi Kevali. If you do not have a Bhava Moksha here, there is no question of having a Dravya Moksha there. So first of all, learn to have total bliss or minimum miseries in this life or in our present life. And how to reach that also has been very well explained. So again, don't, because you may believe or you may not believe. There are people who has a faith and they believe that there is something like a moksha, Siddhashila. Suppose you don't want to believe that, fine, doesn't matter. It's your belief. But at least understand that there is a state of mind where you can have a maximum bliss even in this life. And try to achieve that. Am I clear?
Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
Bipin,
then.
Dr. Bipin Bhai, thank you very
Right.
much for such a
Just to
wonderful session. And please, the time has come. So please, can you do Mangalacharan, please?
Namo Oriyandanang, Namo Siddhanang, Namo Airyanang, Namo Vajjanang, Namo Loe Savasavanang, Eso Pancha Namo Karo, Savapava Panasano, Mangalanam Cha Savesi, Padamam Havai Mangalam, Padamam Havai Mangalam.
Jai Jinendra, everyone. See you
Jai
tomorrow.
Jinendra.
And hope you had a Satha today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra, thank you.